Okay, Buchanan, so now we've got this board planed and glued and square, and we need to cut it into two separate pieces. We have these doors that are going into that cabinet over there, and we want these panels to fit down inside of these grooves.
All right.
But we want to make sure that they also have a little bit of room to move as they move back and forth seasonally. So we're gonna use the Festool. This is called the MFT table, and I can't even remember the name of this one right now. A track saw jig, where it has a hinge right here, and then you have this fence along the back. And we've set it so that this fence and this track are exactly 90 degrees to one another. So we're gonna be able to bring this board in here. We can butt up against the fence here at the back. And the first thing we're gonna do is come down here and we're gonna cut a 90 degree off of there. And then from that 90, we can measure back and cut our two panel pieces.
Sweet.
So first, actually the very first thing we have to do is we need to set our blade depth. And you can either measure the board and then use the front of the saw, or I just come and put the saw on here. And then we'll come to this side. I'm gonna make the saw go down and touch, and then you can just kind of come and adjust this so that it matches up. And you want it to go just a little bit below and cut actually into the top of the MFT table. So wherever that is right there, I'm now just gonna adjust it down a little bit. Okay, now we're gonna plug in the dust collection, and then this cord is going to plug into the dust collector. One of the nice things about Festool is that the dust collectors are tool sensing. So if your tool is plugged into the dust collector, when you turn the tool on, the dust collector automatically comes on. So you're going to do this. We've butted this in here, and it's just hanging over the edge, and the track can clear. So all we're doing right now is just kind of squaring up this edge. This board has to be against that fence. If it's anywhere off of there, we're not guaranteed to have a 90. So it has to stay butted up and over here. You'll put the saw down like that, and then you'll push this button forward. That turns it on, and then you're gonna plunge down to the maximum. It's gonna hit that stopper that we just set, and then you're just gonna make your way all the way through. Then you'll let the saw up and come back. Okay, here goes Buchanan, very first time ever with a track saw, and it's a Festool. Pull it back, then take the saw off and put it over beside you there, and then flip that thing up all the way, and then look, see how beautiful that cut is right there? See how nice it is all along the top? I was talking about that splinter guard. Oh, yeah. So now you have a perfect 90 and you have a nice cut. You can kind of see there's a little bit of splintering right there when it came out of the end of the board, which is normal. We're going to cut that off anyways. So now what we want to do is measure how far back we want each of these panels to be, and then we'll make those cuts. Okay, so these are our cabinet doors now. We have stiles on the outside, we have rails in here, and as you see, we have these grooves inside of here. The grooves, I cut them before you got here, and they're 3/4 of an inch deep. They didn't have to be quite that deep, but that's what I made them. So we've got 3/4 on each side, top and bottom, but we wanna have this wood, when it goes in there, it's gonna be sitting like this. It's gonna expand and contract in this direction mostly. So we don't want to have it so tight that it pushes out, and we don't want to have it so narrow that it falls outside of those deals. If we make this measurement right here, which is 10 inches, and then it was 3/4 on each side, remember? So that's going to take us up to 11.5. We're going to come back to 11.25. We're going to give ourselves 1/8 of an inch on each side, and then we can set that panel in there, and then it gives it a little bit of room to expand and contract seasonally as it's inside there. Okay, now there's two ways we can go about doing this. This was the side that we had cut right here. So we can measure back 11.25, line it up on the track and then make the cut, then measure again 11.25, and then make the cut. Or Festool has put right here a stopper, and we can also just measure that and then butt up against that. So if we put the track down, and then we measure over 11.25 from the edge of the track, see that?
Yep.
Now the saw blade we know is coming down on the edge of that track, and if we butt up against that, then we're gonna have two cut exactly at 11.25. So measure once and cut as many times as you need. The more times you have to make a cut, the more useful that is. We're just doing 2, so it kind of was 6 of one, half a dozen the other. But let's say we were doing like 10 of those, then it makes it a whole lot easier just to lift it up, put it in, make the cut. So let's take this off of here, and we want to have the edge we just cut go and butt up against this, right? It wouldn't make sense to do the other one. So you're gonna put it in there, and then we're gonna save that piece, and then this one will get pushed in and you'll cut again. So we'll pick this one up here, yeah. You take that board, stuff it through, make sure it's butted against that one and against that nice and tight. Yep. Yeah, let her down. And make sure it falls into that little groove. See on the bottom side of this? Here's that little groove. So that track has to fall into that. That's when we set the 90 degree right here. that helps it to stay in that 90. Then you'll make that cut. And then we'll lift that up and get this out of the way. That's panel number 1. And then this is panel number 2. Put it in there, put it down, make sure it goes into that notch. There you go. There you go. 2 panels.